Hello, I'm Joe Galvin, Chief Research Officer for Vistage Worldwide. Welcome to the Vistage CEO Coaching Spotlight, a video series dedicated to exploring the challenges and opportunities facing CEOs and leaders around the globe. In each episode, we'll be speaking with some of the world's best and brightest executive coaches, seasoned mentors who are on the daily leadership climb with business leaders every day, guiding them to make better decisions and become even more effective leaders. Today, we're speaking with Vistage Chair Greg Herrera about the challenges faced by small and mid-sized business CEOs, and more importantly, what are they doing about it? Greg chairs two Vistage CEO groups in San Mateo, California. He is an executive coach for 15 Silicon Valley CEOs in his role as Vistage CEO Peer Group Chair, and he works the San Francisco Bay Area. Prior to Vistage, he was a founder and CEO of Cinetrust, a nationwide data analytics consulting firm with 65 employees and over 13 million in revenues. Greg, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for coming on the CEO Coaching Spotlight.
Thanks, Joe. It's great to see you again.
Good, thanks. Hey, good. Greg, before we get started, tell us a little bit about your leadership climb, but more importantly, what you learned along the way. What were some of those big lessons for you?
Yeah, I'd say one of the favorite moments of my climb was when I started my own company, and then a couple of years in, I excitedly go to my wife and I say, "Hey, I think we've built a going concern here." And she said, "Well, that's good to hear, because I tell you, up till now, I saw a lot of concern and not a lot going." So that's a great memory of the climb. But the leadership lessons that came out of it, that's what the learning I appreciate the best. And there's really 5 things that I've condensed it down to. The first is true leadership. True leadership is when people follow when they otherwise have the opportunity or the freedom to not follow. And this applies not just to employees following, but customers and other people, parts of your life as well. The second is that leadership greatness is not a destination that one ever reaches. You have to work on it every day. The third is, if you want to be a better leader, work on becoming a better version of yourself, and vice versa. And then the key to success in business is the people. You get the right people into the company and onto the bus and into the right seats on the bus, and that's the number one key to success. And then selection. We always want to always work on developing your people so they get better. And remember that selecting better people from the beginning is even more effective.
Greg, that's a lot to learn. There's a lot to unpack there. We could spend a long time talking about each one of those topics. But let's shift our gears a little bit. You work with CEOs every day, very closely. You coach them. You understand their business. Tell me, what are some of the things that are top of mind for them right now? What are the things that they're thinking hardest about?
Yeah. So the challenges in the macro environment, the inflation, and what effect that's having on their employees and their hiring. Still some remnants of the pandemic, those things. The one that I want to highlight is, it's an interesting one because it's not happening to everybody, but it's relatively unique in the history of leading people, and that's that employees are out of sorts. And as we discuss it with the CEOs in the group, what they're noticing is that people are a social species, and this long period where they didn't have social interaction has had an effect on them. It's unique because we've in our lifetimes haven't seen it before. And so what they notice is they're just out of sorts. The employees are out of sorts. They're even some of their top players with who have been really engaged with the company are less so now. They're really live the values. It's not happening as much. Again, not everybody.
A digital disconnect.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
And so, okay, so we've all experienced that. We're all going through. We're kind of through everything Zoom, but there's some in person. But what are people doing about this disconnect? How are they helping to help get their people to stay connected, engaged in this new from any hybrid model.
Yeah, yeah. So the CEOs are taking this, the good ones are taking this as this challenge and looking at it as an opportunity to grow their leadership and in this case strengthen the relationships with their employees. So what are they doing? They're being more present. They're working on understanding that the authenticity is going to work better, engaging with them more. They're making programmatic changes. Many are offering coaching to every employee who wants it. They're also changing the compensation plans of the managers in the company to reward connectivity, improvements in connectivity, and basically looking at it as an opportunity to up their game as a leader. Their other thing that they're doing is looking at other ways of learning. So the 15 members of this group rely on each other to improve on, in this situation. Let's take the example of the remote work. Within this 15 members, we've got the whole spectrum from 100% remote to 100% in person and everything in between. And every month they get together and they compare notes. Hey, what's happening for you over here? Oh, that's working well. Okay, I think I need to dial mine a little bit differently. And so the combined knowledge has accelerated how fast they can learn too. And so that when you ask about what the good leaders are doing, it's not making it all about themselves, getting more help too.
Our data shows that most CEOs are from a workplace hybrid to essential to remote. There's not going to see a lot of shift going forward. So we've kind of settled where we are. Do you see CEOs kind of accepting that we're here where we are and we're going to optimize this? Or are they thinking maybe it's time I want to move closer to this model or further towards that model?
Yeah, no, in some cases they made the choice already all in. Like they got rid of their facilities,
right?
And they hired people from all over the country. And the key to success being the people. Well, you're there. That die is cast already. So for the most part, it's settled in.
Well, Greg, what are the things that you think CEOs should be thinking about now that maybe they're not? What's in that frame of reference that people need to be thinking about?
Yeah, the resilience. As challenging as the times are now, there's no reason to expect that they're going to get easier or better, or the challenges are going to go away in the future. The uncertainty, there's changes is accelerating, and that's the given. So, what they need to do is develop and enhance their company's ability to generate new ideas. And a great example of it is one of the founding members of our group was a phenomenal situation. At the beginning, he runs restaurants. He has 12 restaurants. Pandemic hits, and suddenly no customers. So instead of curling up in the corner, he said, "All right, let's figure out how to come up with a new idea." So he took his existing infrastructure of suppliers, and instead of serving the customers through the restaurants, he's serving them through FedEx shipping. Basically became an online grocer with meal kits and was able to complete that, Joe, in less than a month. 3 weeks and change, had that implemented and had revenues going again, and it was phenomenal.
The agility of some organizations are really inspiring to see. Greg, I appreciate your time so much. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
Yeah. So, circling back to the climb, that company that you mentioned, Centurus, we were expert at creating amazing data analytics systems. We could give metrics, all over the place. How much profit you're getting from each customer? What's the profitability of each product? And all this, and built my big portion of my career around it. Fast forward into Vistage, and we have Jim Collins, the author of Good to Great, and one of my favorite thought leaders, and he comes into our groups and he says, you can have lots and lots of metrics, but there's really one that really matters, and that's what percentage of the key seats on your bus are filled with the right people.
Yeah.
And the answer needs to be 90% or better. And if it's not 90% or better, then at least you know what your top priority is to get to work on.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure having you on the CEO Coaching Spotlight. And thank you for watching the Vistage Coaching Spotlight. If you enjoyed this talk, be sure to share it with colleagues who you think will find it valuable. For more information and guidance on the top issues you're facing as a leader, visit www.vistage.com. Greg, thank you again for your time. We'll talk to you soon.